Hello and welcome to another Math with Miss V. Today we're going to delve into the percent equation. So in our last two videos, we were using proportions and how to find percent in the real world. And then we were also looking at the percent of change between two numbers. In this video, we will look at how to solve the real world percent problems using an equation rather than a proportion. Some of you will like this better. Some of you will prefer the proportion. I like to show both. That way the decision of how you solve your math is up to you. So the percent equation, when using the percent equation, we have to first change our percent into decimals. And we can change a percent into decimal by moving the decimal point 2 places to the left, or we think about it as dividing by 100. So for example, 25% is the same as 0.25. The other thing that we have to think about is how to represent the original number or the whole part. And this is represented by 100%. And when we turn 100% into a decimal, it's just represented by the number 1. So overall, when we're thinking about is, of, and of from our percent proportion, we think about of times our percent decimal equals our is, what I'm looking for. Okay, so, and then to get our final answer, if we're looking for a percentage, we would multiply it back by 100 to turn it back into a percent, or move the decimal 2 places to the right. Now this is very theoretical, but it makes more sense in practice. So let's jump right into using our equation, sorry. Okay, what is 12% of 49? So the first thing we have to do is take our 12% and change it into a decimal. And we can think about that as dividing it by 100 or moving the decimal point, which is always right by the ones place, 2 places over to the left. So 1, 2, or dividing by 100, so that 12% equals 1.12. So now we're ready to use our equation. We said it was of times percent decimal equals is what we're looking for. So 49 times 0.12 will give us our answer. And again, I'm using a TI-30XS calculator. So 49 times 0.12. And that gives us that 12% of 49 is 5.88. And that's our final answer. So let's look at the next one. 98 is what percent of 65? Okay, so this time we're looking for our percent. So it's important to know where both of our is number and our of number belong in the equation. So we say is, so of times percent equals is. So 65 times our percent, which we don't know, I'm going to say x, will equal 98. Okay, we undo multiplication with division, so divide by 65. So x equals 98 divided by 65. Gives us a very large decimal. I'm going to round to 3 decimal places. So 1.508. Now we need to turn it back into a percent. So we multiply by 100 or move our decimal place 2 places to the right. So our percent is 150.8%. So 98 is 150.8% of 65. Okay, let's look at a few more examples. Okay, 35 is 50% of what number? Okay, so we have our is, that's 35. We have our 50%, let's see, 50%, 1, 2, that equals 0.50. What number? Our of number we don't know, so we can say x times 0.50. The better way to represent that is is 0.50x equals 35. We undo multiplication with division. Okay, so x equals 17.5. Oops, no, I looked at it and that didn't look right. 35 divided by, always be careful and make sure you're typing the right thing into the calculator. 70. 35 is 50% of 70. Okay, 16 is 125% of what number? So the same thing. Let's turn our 125% into a decimal. So there's my decimal point, 1, 2 to the left. So 1.25. I'm looking for my of. So x times 1.25 will equal 16. So we can, I'm going to rewrite, I prefer having my number before my variable. So 1.25x equals 16. Divide by 1.25. Divide by 1.25. Be careful with your calculator. Divided by 1.25. So x equals 12.8. So 16 is 125% of 12.8. Okay, let's look at two word problems. Mary has $200. What is 45% of this amount? Okay, so 45%, decimal point 1, 2 to the left, which equals 0.45. So 200 times 0.45 will give us our answer. So 200 times 0.45, 90. This is money. So 45% of $200 is $90. Our last example, Mark's age is 34% of his father's. If Mark is 15, how old is his father? So we're looking for his father. We know that Mark's age is 45% of his father. We're going to say X to represent his father. We need to turn our percent into a decimal. So that'll be 0.34. And we know that Mark's age is 15. I'm going to swap mine around. 0.34x equals 15. Divide by 0.34. Divide by 0.34. So x equals 15 divided by 0.34, which is 44.1176. But it's an age, so I'm going to round to the nearest whole number. So his dad is 44 years old. And that is how you can solve problems with percentages using an equation rather than a proportion. Thank you for joining me on this Math with Miss V video. I look forward to seeing you in the future.